My bestie volunteered to deliver my love letter to the school bully for me. She even said the bully agreed and wanted me to kiss him in public, so he could announce us. But in reality, she was already with him. I smiled and said, "All right, I'll kiss." Then I spun around and kissed my first love, who had protected me in my past life. First love, huh? The heavens really have eyes. I was reborn, before my bestie swapped my fortune and beauty. Have you heard of fortune swapping? It's when someone sticks around you, depends on you, imitates you, and eventually takes all your good luck and even your beauty. In my last life, Vivian was the one who did this to me. Just before vacation, our school held an event. The school bully, Justin, was going to do a street dance. Vivian egged me on to get on stage and give him a kiss afterward. She just wanted me to get rejected and embarrassed in front of the whole school. On our way to the auditorium, Vivian sidled up and clutched my arm affectionately. I used to think she just liked me. Now I realize she was just trying to increase physical contact to swap fortunes. I hugged my books to my chest and subtly avoided her touch. My phone buzzed. In our class chat, the teacher posted the finalists for the design contest, tagging each of us thoughtfully. And my name was right there. Vivian was even more excited than I was and made to hug me. I stepped away to dodge her. She was left empty-handed, still sounding cheerful, as if she had won, and, "You're amazing. You'll definitely win the grand prize." Sure, if all my stuff would end up with her, of course, she'd be happy. The grand prize was $10,000. Don't forget to treat me to something nice. I scoffed, "What if I don't win the grand prize?" "Don't worry, the grand prize is definitely yours. If not, I'll treat you to a feast." I remembered very clearly that it was Daniel who won the grand prize. We grew up together. I got the first prize, $5,000. But Vivian always did this. No matter what, she'd set my expectations sky high. Winning some prize money should be something to be happy about. But she would keep hinting that I could get something better, which made my real results feel disappointing and created imbalance in my heart. She'd badmouth those ahead of me, unconditionally favoring and comforting me. It left me clueless about my actual level, unable to improve. The longer the resentment built, the less good luck I'd have. Turns out, someone who only sweet talks isn't a true friend. When we got to the auditorium, Vivian deliberately picked seats closer to the stage, and sit over here. She just wanted me as close to the center as possible. I sat back down, thinking, since you want an act, I'll give you the full show. The event was a while away from starting, so I opened a book to review today's lessons. Just as I got to the second point, a flash nearly blinded me. I instinctively looked at the source, a skinny boy holding his phone. His face was bright red. When he caught my gaze, he quickly ducked, hiding in his seat. His friends teased him, "Come on, Mike. Haven't you liked Anne forever? Yeah, just go talk to her. Seriously, ask her for her Instagram." With a clenched fist and seeming resolve, Mike rushed up to me. "And, hello, I'm sorry for the sneak photo." He quickly bowed at a 90-degree angle. I helped him up, smiling. "It's okay, wanna take a picture together?" "Really? Can I?" I turned to Vivian and handed her the phone. Of course, Vivian can snap a pic for us. Vivian hadn't expected me to address her. She stifled a budding eye roll, forced a smile. "Sure, and so popular." Her tone couldn't quite hide the envy, while I grinned at the camera even wider. Our school focuses on academics. There was no vote for campus king or queen. But everyone could see who was pretty and who wasn't. Mike nearly bounced back to his seat. "Dude, nice going. Having a pic with and is killing me." I felt a bit hungry, probably because I hadn't had anything. I turned back and winked at Daniel. "Daniel, I'm hungry." I'd noticed Daniel sitting behind me during the photo. It's like he was always there, quietly guarding like an invisible man. For once, I wanted to acknowledge him. Raising his head from his book, "Daniel, with hair as black as night and eyes brighter than stars, froze, staring blankly as if verifying I was speaking to him. Seeing him dumbfounded, I couldn't resist the urge to tease. So that bread wasn't for me? Before I could turn away, Daniel handed me a small bread from his bag. It's for you, always has been, he softly affirmed. I knew it all along. When I was little, because of my anemia, Daniel would carry chocolates and little breads with him. This habit never changed. I just hadn't noticed in my last life. Vivian reached over to snatch the bread, exclaiming, "No, you'll get fat." Even fortune swapping had repercussions. It might take away the bad luck too. It made sense Vivian was harsher than my mom over food. I popped the bread in my mouth, muttering, "I'll get fat if I want, what's it to you?" I wasn't fat, just anemic and weakened in her company's diet plans. The host took the stage, and the event soon started. When Justin came on, he was met with enthusiastic screams from fangirls. "Ah, so handsome. Justin, I love you." I couldn't help but chuckle wryly. Last time, I was one of them. Honestly, Justin isn't that handsome. Any guy who's 6 feet tall, not overweight, and dresses up a little is decent enough. Justin caught my eye because he has that bad boy vibe. We tend to chase whatever we lack. I've always been the well-behaved girl. If you think about it, what's so great about bad boys? They're usually just rich, powerful bullies. Most school bullying incidents have them as the ringleaders. Thankfully, life gave me another shot. Justin finished performing, and Vivian stood up. "All right, everyone quiet down. Can we get a spotlight on Anne? She has something to do." Everyone knew I was chasing Justin, so asking for silence at this moment was weird. In the crowd, some were whistling provocatively. In my past life, I foolishly went on stage to kiss Justin and got publicly rejected. I became a laughingstock and never recovered. Vivian used that to comfort me constantly, eventually stealing my luck and looks. I stood up and noticed Justin raised an impatient brow. Vivian was pushing me towards him. I turned around and kissed Daniel. The whole place erupted. Daniel's eyes lit up, his long lashes fluttering slightly. Seeing his eyes turn red made me even more uncertain. "Daniel, I've liked you for so long. Can we be together?" I asked. The front rows were lower than the back, so I leaned over to kiss him. You could hear a pin drop in the auditorium. As my support slipped away, the answer didn't come. Suddenly, strong hands steadied my waist. Daniel was trembling as he closed his eyes. He took a deep breath and stammered loudly. "How could I let you confess?" Daniel's Adam's apple bobbed twice, and his eyes even glistened with tears. He choked up. "And, will you be my love?" He looked at me as if I were a rare treasure. My heart ached deeply. In my past life, after my death, Daniel visited my grave every day. Always watching the sunset with me, no matter the weather. He got so familiar with the gravekeeper. "Who's that to you, young man?" "My love." Just calling you girlfriend felt too shallow, so he allowed me this title. In my last life, I never let his secret love see the light of day. This time, under the stage lights, I shouted, "Yes." We kissed as the crowd erupted with cheers and applause. Only one sharp voice was out of place. Vivian pulled me away, hysterically asking, "Don't you like Justin? Why'd you kiss Daniel?" Daniel furrowed his brow. I thought he was jealous. He acted disgusted, pulling Vivian's arm away from me. He seemed annoyed about not able to wash his hands right away. So Daniel, though reserved, had this adorable side. On stage, even Justin tilted his cap to glance at me. His gaze was as arrogant as ever, but with mixed emotions like amusement and disappointment. Looking at Vivian, I said, "Because I truly like Daniel." Hearing my response, Daniel quickly looked down at his shoes. His ears turned pink, betraying how not calm he felt. Seeing things not go as planned, Vivian glared and exploded. "How's that possible? You always asked me to give Justin things. I did like Justin. From breakfast and drinks to sneakers and watches, I've given them all. I thought I was secretly showing affection. But with Vivian's proactive help, it became public knowledge. I was known as someone chasing Justin. But Vivian always delivered the gifts. She stood by his side, spending the most time with him. Under the guise of helping me, she played matchmaker between me and Justin, using my gifts. She'd even smile coyly when asked about the sender. Girls shouldn't be too forward, play it cool to catch a guy's interest. She'd say. And, you're not like me, I'm more outgoing, I can talk to them easily. That's what Vivian often said. Yet every time she delivered gifts, no matter how cold, she'd show up in a mini skirt and boots. Soon, Justin's friends assumed she was their boss's girl. No way that ends well, right? Everything Vivian stole from me, I'd reclaim with interest. I chuckled lightly, a sneer on my lips. Huh? Isn't the bad boy your crush? College kids may have clear eyes, but they're not fools. My question, combined with past rumors, made things obvious. Vivian used her matchmaker role to steal her friend's crush. It's not scary for two friends to like the same person. What's sickening is pretending not to but secretly competing. This covert rivalry is such a turn-off. You. Caught in her schemes, yet unwilling to break ties with Justin, she faltered. Vivian was at a loss for words and awkwardly tried to defend herself, but only managed a single word. From the outside, everyone saw it as her involvement. By the time she wanted to argue again, it was too late. Suddenly, she remembered something and pulled out a letter from her bag that was meant for the school bully. She glanced at me triumphantly, then shrank back and complained tearfully. And, you know I like Justin, so why'd you write him a love letter? What a way to twist things around. Now I looked like the shameless one. I pretended to avoid Vivian's gaze as if deeply wounded, resting weakly on Daniel's shoulder. Daniel went stiff, his fists clenched. I gently took his hand, signaling for him to stay calm. Seeing that, Vivian raised her eyebrows and cheerfully read the love letter aloud. Justin, do you know how much I like you? Because I like you, I've humbled myself completely, willing to be labeled as your simp. Vivian read it passionately, and the students around shot me disdainful looks. Is this the goddess I thought she was? How shameless. I was dumbstruck. In my past life, I crumbled under a reputation like this. I trembled slightly in Daniel's arms, laughing. Vivian suddenly stopped reading. I grabbed the letter from her hand. Why'd you stop? Let me read the rest. Let's see, it ends with, yours forever, Vivian the simp. Oh wow, turns out Vivian's the simp. What a scare, phew, I thought my goddess had fallen from grace. I stepped between the school bully and Vivian, looking straight at her. Vivian, I know you like Justin. And I know you're scared of rejection, so you pretend to make moves using my name. It's good to confess your feelings today. By the way, the stuff you bought Justin with my money, mind paying me back? Not much, exactly $5,000. How do you want to settle this? Always using my stuff to score points, huh? Better pay out of your own pocket. Caught in a bind, Vivian grudgingly spit out credit card through gritted teeth. Funny, she didn't have enough on it. Oh dear, my card shows just $5,775. So, the $250, Venmo it to me. Vivian was livid, but still had to keep her cool in front of Justin. With the money in hand, I pulled Daniel away. You two sort it out on your own. This blew up into a big deal. I heard that after I left, Vivian didn't quite hit it off with the school bully. Justin adjusted his baseball cap, muttering how boring it was before leaving. Vivian was left standing there, like a joke, mocked for a long time by everyone in the auditorium. Feel bad for her? Not really. Because in the last life, the one who got laughed at in the auditorium was me. Remembering that scene, I couldn't stop shaking. Was it too cold? Daniel slipped off his jacket for me, concern lacing his voice. I snuggled further into Daniel's arms. So warm. Heart pounding fast. Daniel was stunned speechless for a couple of seconds before hugging me tightly, as if afraid I'd vanish. "Anne," he murmured. "Yes, I'm here," I replied. "Anne. I'm here. If you like me, you can't like anyone else. Okay." To my surprise, Daniel, who'd always been gentle and easygoing, had a possessive side too. The sweet genius force of love, so thrilling. Later on, I realized it wasn't just possessiveness, it was downright cunning. He got so excited he stayed up all night cramming, and even compiled 8 whole notebooks of study notes just for me. I thought Vivian would lay low for a while after all this drama. But not long after I got back to the dorm, she dropped to her knees before me, leaving my roommate and I dumbfounded. Even if it's New Year's, isn't this a bit much? And I was wrong. Vivian's makeup was a tear-streaked mess as she crawled toward me like a zombie. I quickly stepped back. "Oh. What are you wrong about?" Vivian cried for ages, repeating, "I was wrong about everything. Please forgive me. Remember I helped you at the beginning? Don't ignore me." If she hadn't reminded me, I'd almost forgotten. At the start of the school year, I got into a night class on another campus. After class, I found my bike tires slashed. Waiting for Daniel to pick me up, some hoodlums targeted me. Vivian showed up and rescued me. The next day, photos of me with those punks appeared on the campus forum. Disgusting comments erupted, people making stuff up just from seeing the pictures. I was in a lousy mood back then, but Vivian stayed by my side, encouraging and comforting me. That was until I learned, after I died, that those hoodlums were actually hired by Vivian. On the campus forum, my photos and some nasty comments were being deleted one by one overnight by Daniel. Vivian got close to me just to swap her luck with mine. I was shocked and in a low emotional state back then. All I saw was Vivian's enthusiasm and kindness. I forgot that nothing good happens without a reason. Especially when you're most vulnerable, true helping hands are rare. People trying to drain you of any remaining value are more common. After that, I regarded Vivian as my best friend. When she was upset that her work was plagiarized by a master, I jumped in to defend her rights. But the more I defended her, the more I discovered. Vivian had plagiarized the master's work first. The master failed to defend his rights and retaliated in the same way. Vivian didn't tell me about it beforehand. Suddenly, I went from being justified to being unreasonable and had offended the master. Meanwhile, Vivian just stayed by my side, saying, "I told you, there's no need to defend." I faced the master and got into trouble, while she stayed invisible and safe. Noticing the camera in the corner, I figured she was up to something shady. I quickly helped her up, saying, "All right, I forgive you." Vivian was surprised at how easily I conceded. "Really?" "Of course, just wash up and go to sleep." Late at night, Vivian drew her bed curtains and started working on something. And an eerie green light came from her bed. I knew it was a swap notebook. The next day, while Vivian and our roommates went to class, I locked the door and found Vivian's swap notebook. It was an old, worn-out book, and I flipped to the page with my name on it. It read, "Vivian and swap progress, 65%. Thankfully, it hadn't reached an irreversible point. Quietly, I changed the progress to 70%. In the days that followed, I pretended to get along with Vivian. Whenever I got the chance, I'd alter the progress a bit more. Vivian got more and more presumptuous, smiling every day, ready to swap lives with me. She ate carelessly, didn't take her studies seriously, and even looked at my boyfriend Daniel inappropriately. Because to her, all I had would soon be hers. On the day I altered the progress to 90%, Vivian's smugness was uncontainable. I couldn't wait to see her face when she found out the truth. Daniel and I were getting closer than ever. Before class, he brought me breakfast. "Thanks." I waved, holding a warm bun, heading back to class. Wait a sec. Daniel stopped me, gently smoothing my stray hair. The sunlight on Daniel felt so warm. I reached out and pinched his pale cheeks. Mr. Warm, smile a bit. Daniel was puzzled but did as told. His eyes crinkled beautifully when he smiled. I stood on tiptoe and whispered in his ear. Haruki Murakami said, "If I love you and you love me too, when your hair's messy, I'll smile and fix it for you." Daniel's breathing started to change, and I turned to leave. But he pulled me back into his arms. Too close. Daniel's gaze grew fiery and intense. Not here, this is the hallway. Seeing my evasive look, Daniel pulled up his hoodie, engulfing me. And, remember to breathe. Back at my seat, my face was still flushed. Daniel, the academic, was surprisingly advanced in this. The early morning class was tedious, and finally, it was break time. I opened a little gift from Daniel, a beautiful hairpin. Since being with Daniel, I received small gifts daily. Sometimes a peeled grapefruit. Sometimes a flower. Sometimes a tea. I asked Daniel, "Are you trying to coax me like a child?" "Why?" "It's my kid, can't I spoil her? Isn't this too exhausting?" "Simple is okay, too." Daniel pinched my cheek playfully. "Spending on you is less than 1% of my energy, but it's enough to light up 99% of my time. Plus," he leaned closer, "and it's already simple now. When we get married, it'll be more exciting, Who would have thought that the seemingly restrained Daniel could be so cheeky? I blushed even more as envious voices interrupted my thoughts. "Wow, so pretty. Let me guess, did Daniel give it to you?" Classmates teased good-naturedly, everyone perked up during breaks. Vivian walked by after her bathroom break. She'd been indulging herself recently. Her face was rounder now, making her already small eyes squintier. Her squinty eyes brightened as she tried to grab my hairpin. I dodged discreetly, but she wasn't deterred. "Anne, your new hairpin is lovely. Can I try it?" Before, I'd have foolishly agreed. But now, not a chance. My boyfriend gave it to me, can't lend it out. The next day, Vivian sported the same hairpin. "Anne, I thought this style looked nice, so I got the same one. You don't mind, right?" She did the same in the past life. Whatever I used or wore, she'd first praise me for my choice. Then she'd secretly buy the same and flaunt it around me. As if a compliment beforehand was a free pass to imitate others. That offense wasn't worth sweating over. But like a thorn, it occasionally makes me feel sick. As time went on, Vivian gradually replaced me, little by little. I gave an awkward chuckle and didn't respond. The atmosphere turned a bit awkward. Vivian looked aggrieved and took off her hairpin. "Sorry, I didn't think you'd mind such a small thing." Whoa. It's the first time I've seen someone make others sick and still feel wronged. How enlightening. Wendy, the model I found at school, stepped in for me. "Nailed it." I gave Wendy a thumbs up. Wendy is well known at school as a cool and stunning beauty, with a striking, bold personality. She's just perfect for the strong female lead theme in my recent designs. As I walked her downstairs, I thanked her gratefully. "Thanks for speaking up for me, girl boss." "No worries. You paid above the market rate. Speaking up for you is no big deal. Come back if you need me again." She winked at me before getting on her black motorcycle and riding off. So cool. I watched the beautiful woman leave, feeling like fate had grabbed me by the shoulders. Daniel spoke in a low voice. "Am I as cool?" Oh no, why does handsome Daniel get jealous over everything? But it's kinda cute. We walked hand in hand on Sunset Boulevard. The fading light was like a gentle touch, so close you could almost reach it. On our way to dinner, we ran into Justin and Vivian. Vivian tiptoed up to Justin and handed him a sports drink, in a soft voice. "For you." Justin didn't stop walking and tossed the drink into the trash. Justin never showed Vivian any kindness, nor did his entourage. Vivian froze for a moment, then smirked at me. Would you throw it away if I gave you the drink today? Justin halted and looked at me, replying, I wouldn't. I smiled and took Daniel's arm. Don't worry, I won't give you one. Even if I liked him, I wouldn't go for a guy my friend likes, especially since I'm not interested at all. I thought I made my point pretty clear. And yet, someone just didn't get it. Recently, I've been getting random gifts at the library. When I came back from the restroom, there was a big bunch of roses on my seat. With everyone around watching, I wished I could disappear. It's so flashy, no way these came from Daniel. I quickly gathered my stuff and left. Justin appeared from nowhere. He followed me and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. Don't like roses? Want me to get you something else? Ugh, talking so loudly in a quiet library drew annoyed glares from others. I dashed outside. This is a library. Can you not check the setting before you speak up? Justin smirked with a laid-back tone. Fine, I won't give them to you in the library anymore. I was amused and annoyed. Justin, what are you doing? Are you seriously trying to date me? Yeah. Justin looked down at me, dead serious. It's funny, when I used to like him endlessly, he never looked at me like this. During the summer, our school clubs had a meet-up event. I was pulled in to help last minute. When a few guys from another school drank too much and tried to pressure me into drinking with them, Justin and his buddies walked by. He said, "Good dogs don't block the way," and helped me out. Back then, I thought school bullies weren't as scary as the rumors said. I quietly admired him, it was obvious to everyone. But he kept rotating girls around him while stringing me along. He knew all about Vivian's little schemes. He just enjoyed having me as a sucker. Remembering what he once told his sidekicks, I chuckled bitterly. Didn't you once say you'd never like a good girl? Justin paused, licked his lips, and smiled, changed my mind. Justin, do you think the world revolves around you? Think everyone should accept you just because you're changed? I pulled out a wet wipe, cleaning my hands as I spoke. But you're really filthy. Justin's expression darkened as he cornered me against the wall. He grabbed my neck, forcing my chin up. In a sinister tone. Then let's both get dirty. The strength difference between men and women is immense. I struggled to escape, but Justin's grip was unshakable. I cursed inwardly. Mixed-up jerks never know how to respect others. Why in those novels do good girls fall for those violent, forceful types? As Justin's face drew closer, I closed my eyes in despair. Daniel. I wished Daniel were here. Suddenly, a force slammed Justin to the ground. Freed, I slid down the wall into familiar arms. Daniel held me, comforting me with urgency. Anne, it's okay. Anne's safe. Oddly enough, even though I didn't feel wronged, once Daniel showed up. It was like a kid falling, suddenly having an adult to lean on. And I couldn't stop crying. Daniel's punch was no joke, Justin's right cheek was bruised. Plah. Justin spat out blood on the ground. He glared defiantly at Daniel, laughing angrily. Bro, want to fight for her? Loser gives an up. What if you lose? If I lose, I promise not to bother Anne again. Daniel's big hand paused on my back. Wow, you really have nothing to lose, huh? I shook my head, not wanting Daniel to get tangled up with Justin. Daniel gently wiped away my tears. Anne's her own person. You can't win her over. But I don't mind beating you in your own game. In school, everyone was super curious about anything not related to studying. The day Daniel competed with Justin at the pool hall, the place was packed. The owner was grinning ear to ear. Me too. I was cracking up. Justin actually challenged Daniel in pool. When Daniel was a teenager, he was obsessed with pool and was pretty good. He stopped playing for school. Justin had no clue. Justin's like a regular at that pool hall. He looked super confident and handed Daniel a cue stick. You go first. I'm afraid if I start, some people won't even get a chance. Daniel took the cue and said calmly. Thanks. Justin's buddies started to cheer him on. That's Justin for ya, always so generous. I bet that pretty boy won't even get to touch the cue stick. Ha ha ha. Once the balls were set up, Daniel's eyes got sharp, and he bent down to take his shot. With a crisp sound, Daniel sank 3 balls with 1 shot. The pool hall went silent. Justin's buddies were quick to mock. Lucky shot for the bookworm. Daniel smirked a bit. Yeah, luck. Shall I keep going? With each shot, Daniel sank more balls. Nothing fancy, just clean and efficient. It was totally different from yesterday when he had me practice with him, celebrating every ball he sank and showing me how to shoot. I blushed just thinking about it. And, you're so nervous your face is all red. Don't worry. I cleared my throat to hide my embarrassment. Daniel definitely heard that. He looked up mid-game, giving me a cheeky smile. Thanks to someone for practicing with me yesterday. Feeling pretty good today. There were fewer and fewer balls on the table. Justin, who was lounging confidently before, was now up on his feet. Whispers spread among the classmates. Don't you think Daniel's actually pretty handsome? We don't need to think so. He's always been handsome and smart. How did we not notice until now? He's a good guy, low-key, not in the spotlight much. In less than 10 minutes, Daniel sank the final ball. He stayed humble, nice game. Justin's earlier comment about someone not getting a chance was spot on. Turns out that someone was him. Daniel held my hand to leave, but Justin blocked our way. Daniel shielded me. I've defeated you in your own terms. Kindly keep your word. Justin looked over at me. What if I said I regretted it? Do I still have a chance? Daniel adjusted his shirt sleeves. Honestly, even if you won today, I wouldn't let you take Anne. Because you're not worthy. I know you look down on people like me, but I look down on you, too. Being good at games, pool, flirting, what's there to brag about? You're only king in these areas because people like me, who take life seriously, don't waste time competing with you. If you can't support Anne's future, don't mess with her present. Daniel's words were worth more than years of studying. After that, Justin never looked for me again. A few of the loafers at the pool hall even started to see Daniel as a role model and buckled down on their studies. Results came out. As expected, Daniel got first prize, and I got second. Vivian was more excited about my win than I was. And I knew you could do it. The prize money is so good. Gotta treat us to something nice. I joked. Oh, but I'm so sad. Didn't you say I'd get the first prize? You also said if I didn't, you'd treat us to comfort food. Vivian's the best, right? Where should we eat tonight? The moment I mentioned she'd have to pay, Vivian was silent. But the other girls had long wanted her to treat them, fed up with her pretending. How about hot pot? Let's go to Hadaleo. What time? 10 p.m. There's a student discount. Vivian, see how nice we are to you. Vivian didn't say anything at the time, but on Friday night, she suddenly offered. Let's go celebrate, Anne, I'm treating. And then we'll go sing. Before we left, Vivian reminded me. Anne, it's cold out, wear that white jacket. Looks nice. No idea what Vivian was planning. I asked Daniel to pick me up earlier. Dinner was okay, but once we got to the KTV, Vivian was like a different person. She toasted me, but downed every drink herself. Later, she said she was cold and borrowed my jacket. The room was getting stuffy, so I stepped outside for some fresh air. From the alley, I heard muffled grunts. It was dark, and I could only make out someone getting beaten up by a group. I played a police siren sound on my phone. The thugs freaked out and ran away. A disheveled figure crawled out. It was Justin. When he saw me, his instinct was to hide. But he was too covered in bruises and mud to do that. He just gave me an awkward smile. His smile pulled on his busted lip, making it look like he was crying. "Did you play the siren?" he asked. I nodded. "Thanks, how about I buy you dinner?" Daniel came running towards me from where the light was. I shook my head. No need. I jogged over to Daniel. "Wait." I turned back to see Justin, barely standing against the wall. He gave me a painful smile and said, "Anne, I'm sorry." A young guy who went down the wrong road finally learned how to love. But he still missed his chance. He seemed like he had more to say, but just added, "Nothing, just go find Daniel. Daniel's a good guy." "Better than me," Daniel said as he draped his jacket over me. "Why'd you go out without a jacket? You must be freezing." I shoved my hands into his coat pockets. "Aren't you curious about what just happened?" Daniel nuzzled my nose softly. I saw. And honestly, if it were me out there, I'd do the same thing. But yeah, I was curious. Jealous, even. "You'll have to kiss me to make it better." Vivian lost it. She wandered near the campus, barely dressed, with a silly grin. She'd tell everyone, "I'm Anne, haha, I'm Anne." I heard that after Daniel and I left that night, a dozen guys with black hoods barged into the KTV room. They grabbed Vivian, who was sleeping off her drinks under my jacket. We called the cops right away, but she was nowhere to be found. 2 days later, Vivian was tossed out of a van, looking like she'd been through hell. When she woke up in the hospital, she'd gone mad. The wildest part? Turns out, she was the one who hired those guys. But she was too far gone to tell us anything, and the case just fizzled out. Rumor has it, Vivian envied me and wanted to ruin me but ended up getting hit by karma instead. I knew it wasn't just gossip, it was her own doing backfiring. Every plan she had for me came back to bite her. She had plenty of chances to stop, but chose to keep going down that path. Those who do evil eventually get what's coming to them. Daniel is always true to his word. After we got married, he treated me even better. Only thing is, he can't sleep unless he's holding me. On his birthday, I got up early to make him some noodles. The water wasn't even boiling yet when I heard him scream my name. "Anne." He came running, no pants on, eyes red and veins popping. He grabbed me tight, relieved but shaken. "You scared me to death." "What's wrong?" I asked, stroking his head. "I had a nightmare," he said, burying his face in my neck. "I dreamed someone killed you with this green notebook. I was so weak in the dream. I did nothing until after you were gone. Then I searched everywhere, begging by a long flight of stairs for you to come back." His tears were starting to fall. "Sorry, in the dream, I didn't save you right away." I kissed him. "Silly, you've already saved me from my worst."